Thanks for joining us for today's Northern Ag TV. I'm Colton Young, coming to you from the 141st Montana Stockgrowers Association Convention, joined by the first president, vice president of the Montana Stockgrowers, Turk Stovall. And Turk, you've kind of been the traveling man of the year, it seems like, from Common Ground Summit to a trade mission with the governor. Now that we're at the end of the year and you can kind of highlight what 2025 has brought, what are some highlights for you serving as the first vice president?
Yeah, no question. We've really had a lot of opportunity this year. You know, as Montana Stockgrowers has been really going out to try to really represent Montana producers and get their voice out as far and as wide as we can. And you know, earlier this spring, we were asked to participate in the Common Ground Summit. And it was really a historical moment where we could really bring a lot of people throughout our whole country in all sectors of the beef industry to really come together and say, hey, what are the topics that we can all agree upon that makes a significant difference for the future of our beef industry? And how do we do that? What are those topics? And how can we move that forward to really get some meaningful policy really voted on and changed and to make a really significant difference? And we got that done, and we are really seeing the fruits of that labor happening right now.
And what a year to do it, really, to bring this coalition together and have all of these ag and cattle industry organizations come together, because the optimism is really high right now. We've had an amazing market all year long. What's kind of next for the Common Ground Summit and that coalition? We see the petition going around, getting signatures, getting people involved, but what's that next step going to look like for producers and for the Common Ground Summit?
Well, one thing the Common Ground Summit really showed is that all of us as producers, we really do have more things in common than we do not. Regardless of what organizations you're coming from, or maybe even what parties you're from. At the end of the day, we all love this beef industry, and we really do want to work together to make it better. And so with that said, the Common Ground Summit showed that we really can work together. And what it did is we showed that, you know what, we can get together and say, hey, we don't want to argue anymore. We want to get something done. And now that we have really some examples of how we can move forward or what we do agree on, it has just grown like wildfire. And we take that message across the U.S., and we started out with the charter members that said, hey, let's do something different. Let's just really try to work together. And now there are signatures of over 10,000. We're working with senators and congressmen across our country. We've been in Washington, D.C. We've been in all of the different states that have been participated to saying, hey, you know what, we really need to do something about working together, really in the name of food security, because we need to keep these operations going. It is vital for our country, it's vital for our rural communities.
And really a lot of work, in the country with that Common Ground Coalition, but you also did a lot of work with Governor Gianforte going on a trade mission to South Korea and Japan, promoting Montana beef and going beyond as far as our exports go. What was a highlight of that trip, and really what were the advocacy efforts moving forward in that process?
Well, first of all, we were just humbled and very thankful that the governor invited Montana Stockgrowers to really be a voice for the Montana livestock industry on that trip. And our whole mission was to really say, hey, we have some of the best cattle in the world coming out of Montana. And where can that be successful on the global marketplace? And so we met with importers. We met with groups that are already buying a tremendous amount of feeder cattle and fat cattle out of Montana, and saying, hey, what does a Montana label look like on the broad spectrum across, for sure, Korea and Japan? The other thing that we looked at, we've had great success with our smaller processors here in the state. What happens if we could create a market for all of their offal and be able to put loads to overseas to where, hey, tongues is a delicacy in some areas. And so can we bring some value to our small processors? And those were just some of the small wins that actually we're even following up with. There's actually going to be a follow-up meeting here in Seattle here in January that we'll be participating in to really, we want to make things happen. And the one thing that you always just have to appreciate with our governor is he's a businessman. And we're here to create results for Montana producers, and we're going to continue to carry that out.
And he sure has shown and expressed his interest in our industry, and we appreciate your efforts moving forward along with him on those. And now that we're here at the Montana Stock Growers Convention, I know we talked about the cattle drive results at the banquet last night, and you know, hosting that and feeding the cattle. Probably have some fun, exciting news on how that turned out for the year.
You know, it's been a really exciting program, and it's really a win-win because the net proceeds from that. From the cattle drive it's a Montana Stock Growers Foundation, and it's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser from scholarships. It's a fundraiser for our conservation programs, and it's a fundraiser for education of our producers. Last night's banquet was really a highlight of bringing all of those donors and ranchers in the same room to say, "Hey, great job!" Not only from hey, this is where this money is going to. We heard from scholarship recipients. You know, we talked about conservation, all the leadership programs that this funded. What a win. But then we really finished it out with some excitement because I tell you, we got great ranches here in Montana, and you know what? We all will get a little competitive. And so we heard from the what ranches were in the top 10 for average daily gain. What were the top 10 ranches for carcass value, and what are the top 10 ranches for really that grand prize winner of the index of them both? And wow, we had some fun, and it was electric. You know, we're really trying to bring information to these operations that are involved. We're really trying to help them bring more value back to the ranch. We've been working with True West Beef, Agri Beef out of southern Idaho. They've really rolled out the carpet. We've had a tour of that packing house this last summer. What a great experience for all of those ranches. And they just said, man, what an experience. And we're just going to keep continuing this program because the bottom line is we're trying to bring a lot of value back to our state because we want our ranchers to be successful, and we really want to make sure that the next generation's ready and willing to come back home.
A lot of efforts, a lot of hard work throughout 2025, and now we're here at the Montana Stock Growers Convention to highlight and celebrate those amazing moments. For the Northern Ag Network, I'm Colton Young.